Hey y'all, what's up? What's going on? What up? What not up? It's the Tampa bleeping Motormouth here in the zone behind the microphone along with
Flying Ryan. Ryan goes here with you today.
Ryan was showing me some Parks and Rec stuff, with Ron Swanson going on, and we got to do the sports shuffle pyramid. We got to figure out what's on the sports shuffle pyramid.
Yes, I've enlightened Joel to something that, frankly, I think everybody should at least give a look to because it's pretty entertaining to start from the beginning if you can. But that being said, we are all crazy all the time. And that show actually is fairly fitting for us. So it's
we're really not going to go much in the election, other than I don't think either of us are too upbeat about things of that nature.
No, but it is important to note, if you were in Florida, your vote has literally not counted yet.
Literally not counted at all. Hey, you have to do the proper hand motions. Literally, Florida is still being decided at this point. Literally, and that Roseanne Barr almost got something like 1,000 votes last night. Ridiculous.
That's a little surprising, but
literally blew me off my gourd.
Yes.
Seeing how many times we can use literally in the podcast.
Literally 1,000.
Literally. You will be driven literally insane.
Literally.
Of course, we already are. So.
Yeah. All crazy, literally,
all the time. You're not, well, you don't know that. I mean, you might be after listening to this.
You might be in a straitjacket listening to us on your padded room radio.
Right. And even though you can't see me, I have to have that type of day, like at work, when it's like it's a straitjacket day, and you do the tongue, like the smiley, that looks like, what would you call that one smiley? It's like,
the one that's like really having the tongue sticking out. It's like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, because this is audio. This is not video. So you're trying to that would be like,
Yeah, it's hard to describe a facial expression. Just
when it's
smile on the face, tongue out the side, just
Yeah, it's like, how did your day go? It's like, okay, one of them days. But
how bad could it have really been?
Awful. Well, as you always tend to look, could always be worse, remembering all the pictures and everything and footage from Sandy, and now there's a nor'easter and snow already in the region that I'm sure you saw all the pictures of traffic the next day jammed, and
yes,
just absolutely jammed.
It was pretty bad.
It's like we were discussing before the podcast, like the what do you call the South Boca Raton was the New York, I think we were.
Yeah, Southern New York.
Southern New York, where it's just like, oh, okay, nobody can drive here. I mean, no one can drive in Tampa Bay, but no one can really not drive. I mean, like when you're driving, it's like, okay, turn signal would be really nice. Yo! And put down the phone, please.
Wait, I have to update my Twitter status. I'm in the car.
Yeah, hang on. I have to really take a photo of myself and post it on Facebook while I'm driving. While I'm shaving and eating cereal and reading the newspaper all at the same time. Do that about cover it?
They're great. Yes.
Hey, yes. Show them you're a tiger. Show them what you can do.
But the election is over, so let's get back to something that I think we can all agree on.
As we rush back to the oasis of sports, as we run, and we don't mean walk run, we mean run. We mean run like the Flash in Super Speed Flash Force Overdrive, back to force, screaming from the world of politics, going like Darth Vader in the episode of the Revenge of the Sith, going, no! And you see, before we get to football, the new Star Wars movies, George Lucas getting paid $4 billion by Disney for Lucasfilms and a whole bunch of other companies, and apparently that was in cash.
Yes,
$4 billion in cash.
For all of you who do not know, there were 3 amazing Star Wars movies that were made in the 70s and 80s. That being said, they remade started, because it was 4, 5, and 6. There's 9 Star Wars.
Yeah, because they started off in the middle. We all thought, they really weren't 1, 2, 3. It was really 4, 5, and 6, because originally it was meant to be 9 movies.
Yes, and the first 3, the 4, 5, and 6, were some of the greatest theatrical productions ever, especially given the time that they came out in.
Solo shot first.
And then, early on, in the 2000s, maybe late 90s, they decided, let's make episodes 1 through 3.
In episodes 1 through 3, we can sum up with episode 1, Misa no like. Episode 2, nauseating dialogue between Padme and Anakin that made you absolutely want to hurl. Other than that, Portman is cute.
Well, yeah, but the thing about that is, we've had this discussion, me and some friends, and you actually will get more out of the scene if they just didn't talk and you follow the body language. When they talk, you're like, Then episode 3, of course, the only thing that's really relevant is jumping into the new ones and finding out how Anakin becomes Darth.
And because getting back to the whole Padme-Anakin romance scene, because we all know, we all have dated at some point in our life. And Ryan, do you ever remember any dialogue like that with any of the women that you've dated? Do you ever remember having a conversation like Padme and Anakin had that you're going, okay, about ready to hurl, because this is like a really bad Hallmark card, the ones that you put back. You're going, no, I just want to get this one for my friend. I don't want to declare everlasting, undying, eternal, infinite love to her. I just want to say, hey, you're cool.
I've never had that, but then again, I tend to date self-destructive, psychopathic, sociopathic women who hate everything about life and the universe and everything. So I can't say I've ever had anybody who's spoken to me in anything that would be called a Hallmark card moment. It's more like, but here's a brick through your front window type moment. So, that being said...
You've never remembered any conversation being like Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I think that was Hayden Christensen with the most inept acting of all.
But with the new ones, we'll get to sports in a minute. For people who are like, what the heck is this crap? I'm here to talk about football. We'll get to football in just a second. But I guess the hope is that they do 7, 8, 9 along the lines of the first 3.
If they're Giants fans, they're probably hoping we don't talk about football.
Oh, yeah, they lost. That was not what I wanted, but they lost. But that being said, we're hoping 7, 8, and 9 are more like 4, 5, and 6, not the 1, 2, and 3 that they just put out.
Just the graphics.
So Disney,
great graphics on great CGI and Jar Jar thing.
So Disney, don't screw it up. That's all we're going to say about Star Wars movies. No.
Princess Leia is now a Disney princess.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Darth Vader is a Disney villain.
Darth Vader, is he dead? I think he died in the last.
Well,
the 6th one.
The ghost of Darth Vader, because like the whole thing. Like, I don't know if that's just for the good guys, but when the good guys die, they're in the Force and they're ghosts and they're still with you. And I mean, the Force be with you always, but then the bad guys, I guess they just vanish.
I'm not really sure how that works, but I'm sure Disney will do their best, and if they ruin it, I'm sure we'll all burn the studios to the ground.
And if the Kansas City Chiefs got lightsabers, would they still be able to get into the playoffs?
No, I'm pretty sure they'd still be a 1-7 team.
Oh, okay, pretty much. What about the Carolina Panthers?
Well, see, they have pretend Superman, so lightsabers just...
He doesn't like the vibe of the whole team, though. He's the quarterback franchise, but he doesn't like the vibe of the whole team.
He doesn't like anything. He's just sad.
He's
very sad.
He doesn't have a can-do attitude.
Open the shirt that's not really opening and show Superman chest is not really there because my team is 2-6. Ooh, Carolina. Anyways, back to the NFL. I guess we should start here in Tampa Bay because 2 weeks ago, I don't think there was a single person outside of maybe fantasy football people and Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan who really knew anything about Doug Martin. Now,
who doesn't like his new nickname, Muscle Hamster?
Muscle Hamster. Yes, Muscle Hamster is what we're going with for him. But this week, he was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, not Rookie of the Week, which I'm sure he was, but NFC. Offensive Player of the Week, which is the first Buck in 2 years to get it since Josh Freeman. He, in the last 2 games, has something ridiculous, like 6 touchdowns and almost 400 yards rushing. I think he has a receiving touchdown as well, technically, because it was a slightly forward pass. I saw on ESPN last week, he had 51 fantasy points based on the standard ESPN league, which is the most of any player that's not.
If you started Doug Williams and you still lost,
Doug Martin.
Your fan is Doug Williams. Yeah. Why am I saying Doug Williams?
We've had a late night following the politics, so we're gonna allow for the filibustering and the hot air to come out.
As I was saying.
But
Doug Martin.
But yeah, he put up 51 points last week, which I think was...
Doug Williams didn't put up any.
Which was maybe the... And I know they're going back retrospectively and calculating these points. I think they said it was like the 4th most by a position player non-quarterback since 1970. They're going back, obviously.
Rival Clinton Portis' day that he absolutely decimated the Kansas City Chiefs in 2003.
I remember they said that was a 54-point day, and that was like the most since then.
Insane.
But it was like the fourth most points. Literally fourth most points since 1970, and they're going back and calculating all these after the fact, which has to be a fantastically interesting job for whoever had to do that.
Can you imagine everyone who had Doug Williams?
Doug? He's not drunk. I swear.
Doug Martin. Can you
He's
imagine?
a Bucks fan, and he's
wrong. We'll just edit that out. Can you imagine who had Doug Martin? As I'm literally dying here.
Literally.
Martin. Can you imagine anyone had Doug Martin on their bench?
He's benched, and ESPN also had the stat. Almost 20% of ESPN leagues.
Can you imagine that? You're checking the stats. You're doing this. You're looking this. You're like, oh my God, Doug Williams. And I said that on purpose this time. Oh my God, Doug Martin. Wow, all those touchdowns, all those young man.
Now here's the thing.
A new acronym that I've come up with. You might be able to relate to some weeks. FMFL, and we'll say this the nice way. EF my fantasy life. Does that work?
Yeah, that works. But now, this being said, like I said, in the last 2 weeks, he's had almost 400 yards rushing, 6 or 7 touchdowns combined. If you benched him and he wasn't in your starting lineup against Minnesota, okay, Minnesota had a pretty good defense. They have a good defense, even though they're small back Bears. Not as good as the Bears and the Niners or even the Dolphins at that point, even though they got torched.
Miami has a football team, the greatest in the land.
But that being said, if you didn't play him against Minnesota, okay, I'll give you a pass on that. Maybe you didn't expect it. After he put up those numbers against Minnesota...
Forward pass, backwards pass, screen pass, option pass? What kind of pass? It's a given pass.
Yeah, we give him a halfback option pass, flank right, throw Tebow style where it's wobbly.
Z25 X split -3.
But that being said, if you didn't play him for that week, okay, I get it. He wasn't doing very much. He only got 500-something yards rushing. He's put up almost 400 of that in the last 2 weeks. So I don't blame you for not playing him then. However, after that game, you see what he can do. He's going in against Oakland. If you don't remember this, Reggie Bush, not a power runner, had about 160-something yards.
Reggie Bush made the news, but in an indirect way.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a second. You might have heard about that.
But Reggie Bush put up about 160 yards, a couple touchdowns. The backup for Miami, Laurent Miller, the third-string backup,
everyone's going Laurent. Ooh, they're typing in Google right now.
Yeah.
Laurent? Okay. Is he
on? His last name was Miller. I'm not sure if his first name was Laurent, but if you look at Miami Dolphins depth chart, it's like the third-string running back. It's Laurent or something like that, Miller.
Laurent, is that on it? It had Laurent, and it has something like that. No, that's what it is on the card.
That's he's Laurent something like that Miller. Just like Joel is Joel Bleeping Burrow.
Yeah, we have to say Bleeping.
We can't say. I would like to say they're real. We're not going to. We pretend that this is real and that we're not being censored, even though we could say all of that stuff just to be effective. We're not going to. We're going to be responsible adults, and we had a conversation on the air. That's not always something that we're good at, especially this one. But we're going to stay off that topic because it's neither here nor there or sports related in any way, shape, or form.
Germain. Literally Germain.
Literally. But
word of the day today.
That being said, is this the start of how do you say this? Because I don't want to overstate and go over the top. But is this the start of one of the best running back careers that we could see?
Well, quite potentially, because I know when I ended up picking up in one of the leagugues, I was like, ooh, yeah, I did a fist bump. Don't know why. And bit of a slow start, and definitely doing better. He may be the muscle hamster. I think LeGarrette Blount is the fumble hamster.
Yeah,
because
fumble hamster.
Because one thing that I've heard comments about LeGarrette Blount being not much patience there. That's something I can relate to, but not being much patience, and even there's no hole, he still goes there anyway. And you just have to wonder if Greg Schiano's kind of running out of patience with LeGarrette Blount and with just the raw, natural ability that Doug Martin has. You just have to wonder, is this quite potentially maybe one of the most natural running backs since the A-Train, since Mike Allstott, who was huge in Tampa Bay, just literally had a. And by the way, if you're getting tired of literally, sorry, this sort of thing we're just literally hanging on.
You got at least another 25 to 30 minutes of it, so don't get sick of it
Literally.
yet. Literally.
But is he the franchise player like a Mike Allstott? And now I'm saying the right Doug Williams. Is he a
Martin?
No. I meant like no. Literally, you're trying to
now I'm just
off
literally
my
trying
game.
to with you.
Yeah, but no, is he like a Doug Williams as quarterback, like a Mike Allstott as running back, like a Keyshawn Johnson when he's not being Meeshawn?
Yeah.
Is he the franchise player that can help turn around the Bucs as a team?
I think he's going to give this offense some dynamism because he actually gives them a running game, and that's something that Tampa Bay has not had since Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott were around. I mean, Graham had a couple good games a few years back. Garrett Blunt had a few moments last year, but nothing really sustainable. Nothing along the lines of the last 2 games for LeGarrette Blunt. Or,
Doug Williams?
Doug Williams, yeah. We just, muscle hamster, we don't mean to be offensive, but we don't know who you are yet. You've played in 8 games. So, Doug Martin.
Everyone was up late last night. Everybody was.
It was a very, very late night for a lot of people.
Yo.
But, yeah. Doug Martin, the muscle hamster, he definitely is bringing something new to the field. And I think his slow start was mostly because he was a rookie. He wasn't getting the opportunity. He was going through Blunt and some other people at first. Now it's going only.
I'm amazed Blunt is still on the team and he hasn't been like.
It probably won't last at this point. I don't think he's going to be there next year. But
to leave after the genius thing that he did, and now he's up in New England. He's a Patriot. Yeah. Good luck with that, Belichick.
Yeah, anything to bring that team down, I'm okay with it. But that being said, I think we are seeing something that could be special, but at the same time, it's only 8 games, especially since the last 2 were only 2 games. We will have to see further, but this could be the start of something special in Tampa Bay.
We're hoping. I mean, after 2-3 seasons ago, after Raheem Morris, after the declining era of Chucky. We need something.
Another Bucs-related story. Did you see the poll? And I know we also the poll of who the most overrated coach was, and it was Rex Ryan by a fairly large margin, 19 votes. 103 players put in this vote. 35 went for Rex Ryan, and 16 went for Belichick, which was second. He more than doubled the votes. But they actually came out with
3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I honestly don't see how that works.
I don't see how Belichick can be considered overrated.
But they had one come out today, and it was the coach that you would least like to play for. Greg Schiano won. He got 20 votes. And it was on current coaches, not all time. It's on current coaches. He got 20 votes. Bill Belichick got 19.
That's interesting to talk about.
And a lot of people had that Giants game where they dove in on the victory formation or the kneel-down plays, which a lot of people hated. And some people were like, no, I respect that they're playing to the end. I was one that I thought was a pretty interesting tactic. If it ever works, we'll be surprised to see if anybody criticizes it. But right now it's not working, and it might never work. But worth trying, maybe.
Well, it's just because he's trying to do a whole college style in the NFL, and that doesn't resonate well with everybody.
He's still very intense and passionate.
Militaristic.
That it can come off a little wrong. These people were paid millions upon millions of dollars to go and try and hit somebody who's carrying a ball. In college, you want someone who's going to be very passionate, very into it, but at the same time, in the pros, you kind of want somebody who's going to be tactical.
Egos in the pros. All these
have the egos.
Because they all think
they don't like when you're on top.
They all think they're like from Mount Olympus.
Some of them look like they might be, and then some look like they just got out of the buffet at Golden Corral. You know, the linemen
literally got out of the buffet.
Literally. But they would put that in place. Send the whole Bucs offensive, defensive line to Golden Corral so they don't shut down early.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're out of what? Everything time. Like the Bears fans went to Tennessee and totally drank them out of all of the beer.
They just cleaned Tennessee out on and off the field.
So that would be Beers.
Not the Diamond Company. Not the Bears.
Beers.
Beers. But
Bears.
But that being said, I thought that was kind of surprising.
Coach Ditka, Hurricane Sandy, who wins? Coach Ditka, right? Saturday Night Live. Coach Ditka, Hurricane Sandy.
But the other thing I thought that was fairly interesting, and it's a debate that might be worth having, is which defense is better right now, the Bears or the Niners? Because the Niners are one of those teams that, even at their worst, as they were against the Giants, they only gave up 23 points. They give up a ton of offense. But the Bears, when they're on, they'll outscore the other team's offense. But we've seen them play games against Green Bay and some of their big rivals that have some good offensive firepower, and they falter. And the Bears fall.
Do you think Matt Forte has had a fantasy disappointing type season?
I do, but I also think that this team tends to do a lot of good on their defense, which gives them either touchdowns directly, which keeps the offense off the field, or they give them shorter fields, so he can't do as much. Plus, you saw the game against Tennessee.
I got to go with the Bears defense over the 49ers defense. 49ers defense, good. I got to go with the Bears defense.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. I do. I think actually the 49ers defense is probably a more fundamentally sound team, but as far as a better defense that's going to do more for you, the Bears have 7 or 8 touchdowns this year. You look at Jacksonville, I don't know if they have 4 as a team. I'm being facetious. I know they probably have, maybe...
Yeah, we're never facetious here.
No. I know they probably only have like 40 points scored all year because they're just awful. And now with Maurice Jones-Drew out, I don't see them getting any better. I'm going to look this one up for the exact number of points.
And doing a shuffle audible here while you're looking up, is the Madden curse over for Calvin Johnson? He actually showed up in fantasy. He showed up in reality. Or is this just a anomaly type thingy, literally, and he's going to go back to the being influenced by the Madden curse, or is he over it?
Actually, this is kind of right in line because we are talking about Jaguars, because they were playing the Jaguars this week. The Lions went in, pasted the
literally.
The Jaguars have 11 touchdowns this year. The Bears defense has, I think, 7. So that's kind of the point I want to make. Is let me see if they can actually find defensive touchdowns.
Are you that you're not the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, he's gone. Well, that whole team needs to be scrapped.
His hot seat, something new. We're going to be starting the Sports Shuffle. Would you qualify that as warm, hot, singe, toasty, or lava's melting it?
It's not quite to the point where it's lava melting, but it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Lava's starting to drip down. Maybe it'll drip. There.
Yeah, it's not showing me how many touchdowns. Well, I can figure it out real quick. 12, 6, 9. Yeah, so they have 19. They have 8 defensive touchdowns. The Bears defense has 8 defensive touchdowns. The Jacksonville Jaguars offense as a team, offense and defense, has 11. But that being said, Calvin Johnson playing Jacksonville is kind of set to have a big day. I don't think the Madden curse is over. I do think that...
I just think it's I'm doing my Elmer Fudd impression. An anomaly. Yeah.
I do think it's an anomaly. An anomaly. I thought about doing like the Finding Nemo thing with the anemone. But I do think it was an anomaly because he's playing a very easy team.
Trouble. It's not shoot you know. It's he doesn't have to shoot me now. Well, I say he does have to shoot me now. So shoot him now. You're despicable.
Yeah, but that being said, I do think that because they played such a weak team, and they're going to play Minnesota this week, so he might have
this week or next week. Oh, it's the other week team.
Yeah. They're going to be playing.
Not week. Yeah, I got it.
Yes. So they're going to be So they're going to be playing another weak team, so they might have a good week this week. But in general, I do think this is going to be a down year for Calvin Johnson. It can't really help but be from last year.
Would he be droppable, trade low, or just permanently benchable? I'm not sure if that's...
You're talking fantasy. You're not talking real life, of course.
I always live in fantasy, so of course I love it.
He's a must-start because he can go off for 200 yards, 10, 12 catches, and 3 touchdowns a day.
So even if you have, like, Titus Young...
Now, if you need somebody, and you have somebody who's willing to overpay for Calvin Johnson, like if you want a quarterback, if someone is willing to package Aaron Rodgers in a deal and you got to throw in Calvin Johnson, discount double check. But if you only have to throw in like a couple odds and ends pieces, maybe a second tier running back for what maybe they throw in second-tier wide receiver. You pull that deal because Calvin Johnson is not achieving Aaron Rodgers is. As much as people might not notice it, he's leading the league right now pretty much in touchdown passes. He was as of last week. So.
How about the Atlanta-Green Bay collision?
Well, we saw in the playoffs a few years back when Green Bay went to Atlanta and stomped them in the playoffs. Atlanta
got stomped. That was a pathetic playoff.
I don't believe in Atlanta. I haven't seen them do anything.
Are they overachieving? It's just they really haven't had a strong schedule.
I think they're overachieving. They haven't played a strong schedule, and they haven't looked good in the games they've played against teams like Oakland.
Are they an anomaly?
They are a team that is very, very fortunate. The Saints came out and dropped a big steaming deuce in the first half of the season. More specifically, the first quarter going 0-4. They've now gone 3-1 the last.
Killed the Eagles on Monday.
They killed the Eagles. The Saints
suck.
are one of those teams that they have to win out, but they're one of the teams that they could do it. They have the talent there to do it. Now that Joe Vitt's back, maybe they have a little more of that structure. Because they didn't just lose Sean Payton. They lost their GM. GM's back.
And
they lost their second interim coach, or their first interim coach.
Heard a good question. Trying to remember where I heard it from, which podcast or whatever. But the question was all the Greg Williams bounty stuff masking how horrible the Saints defense really is? Not my question. Heard it somewhere else, but that's a good one to ask.
I don't think it was masking it because the Saints defense was still not great. They were a little more tenacious. They were a little more fired up.
Not like Tony the Tiger. They're great.
They're mediocre. Yes, but
somebody called Calvin Johnson Mediocretron.
Yeah, Mediocretron, and then he goes off. I mean, that's the thing. When you call, and we've seen this with Tiger Woods especially. This is the one that always comes out. Whenever somebody goes, like especially in a match play event, oh man, I can't wait to play Tiger and knock him out or smack him down or put him where he should be. And this came out all the time. Tiger goes and rolls him. In a match play event, he'll win 10-8, which is winning every hole that he can. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think that's pretty much what happened, given he had a good matchup. If he's going up against San Francisco, I don't think Calvin Johnson has the game that he did against Jacksonville. And on Calvin Johnson's standards, 7 catches, 100-something yards, no touchdowns.
He's getting the targets.
Getting the targets, but no touchdowns, decent yardage. Well, pretty good yardage, let's be fair. Good number of catches. But from what we expect from Calvin Johnson, it wasn't a great game. But for this year,
he is not living up to a first-round pick.
No. And
which round pick would you equate his performance to? Third?
Yeah, I would put him in the 3rd round, just because he's still able to put up those numbers. And like you saw last week, he put up, depending on if you're a PPR league, somewhere between 10 to 20-something points. He can go out and put up 30, 40 in a PPR.
Which is better than Eli Manning did.
Yeah. But that being said, he's still too good to not start every week.
So even though there's the possible disappointment out there, there's the Madden curse hanging over him. Start Megatron, even if he's being Mediocretron.
Yeah, you have to start Megatron just because he's that good. It's just like if you have Arian Foster or Adrian Peterson, they might go out and lay a dud every once in a while. You have to play them. Now, Chris Johnson, he's one of those players that he will either get you, he will easily hand you a steaming pile of useless air and around 1.5 to 3 points, or he'll go off for 100-something yards, 2 touchdowns, plus some receiving numbers, and you can't trust him. Now, this week against Miami's got a good run defense, you sit him, expecting it to be bad. Last week against Chicago, I don't remember even hearing his name during the highlights. It was bad. I mean, you heard more curse words from referees during the Dolphins game than you heard from Chris Johnson.
And their mic's so on. Oops, that's not a bleep, bleep.
Oh, sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, so does the network get fined? Does the referee fine? Both?
I think it was a screw-up. I don't think the network can get fined for something that was said without intent.
Because that's something just like they're not expecting.
Yeah, I mean, they do show it live. It's not like they even have a 5-second delay where they can go, oh, crap, gotta mute this real quick. Well, they do it live, so it is difficult. That being said, I think the refs. You've seen the coaches and the players, and you've heard it through the
how many times do you read lips when you're watching football games?
And you've heard swear words that I mean, they'll be close to the ref, and the mic might be on when they're making a call, and they'll be like, "Oh man, that's a goal."
You're off my Christmas list. They're not saying that.
I mean, I've heard him go, "Oh man, you know." Now that being said, I don't think anybody's got fined, and we saw Tirico, a couple years back, drop the S-bomb or something like that on live television.
I originally thought that was
Jaworski.
I thought that was Rudin doing it initially.
I thought it was Jaworski who did. It was like one of those oops. I think he kind of forgot where he was kind of moment. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Who he thought he was or were. Or, no, that was actually the Bears.
Yeah. So
I don't. They got let off the hook.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to blow up or be anything serious. But it was just an interesting side note. And it seems like a lot of these interesting side notes seem to be happening.
Terry Bradshaw's rather.
Terry Bradshaw side note. See, I've noticed this. Like, you've had all these weird things surrounding Miami this year. And of course, me being a Dolphins fan, I've noticed them. Like, you had the pink flag game with the Jets. The Darrelle Revis' knee injury was karma. The entire smack talking going up to last week's game, the blowout the Dolphins put on the Jets. And then you have this whole Chuck Pagano's actually coming back this week, being part of that. Then you have the GD ref comment. You have the Terry Bradshaw saying Reggie Bush looked like he was quote-unquote chasing a bucket of fried chicken blowing in the wind.
And then you had all the Jimmy Johnson. It was a late night last night. You're having Jimmy Johnson then with the tweets, awkward tweets, trying to make it look like, no, it was talking to something that Jimmy Johnson was saying. He wasn't talking about Reggie Bush.
Now, that being said, when he did say, Chase, it sounded like it was you. It looked like he was. It looked like he was chasing. And he said, Jimmy, it looks like he was chasing that bucket of fried chicken in the wind like that one time. First of all, if there's ever a full bucket of fried chicken blowing in the wind, I don't think it's just going to be Reggie Bush chasing it, because there's going to be a bunch of linemen also chasing it, because, let's put it this way, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, if you're fat, you're fat. You like food. Fried chicken is delicious. I don't think we're going to have an argument on that.
Even if you're thin, you like food.
Even if you're thin. You might not chase it the same way.
Why would be in the middle?
But you're going to... I just want to throw that out there. It's not just going to be, a running back of any particular race chasing down. I mean, you're not going to see him put, like, a thing of sushi if it was, some Asian
prices aren't that low. Anyone would be running after it. That's like, it's dinner.
Yeah, free food. I mean, come on. Let's be fair. So, given talking about Reggie Bush, who was a black player, fried chicken being a stereotypical black food, you gotta kind of go. And I think you heard Strahan in the background when he said it. Just went, wow. Yeah. Like, I think what he wanted to say was.
Can you imagine what Terry Bradshaw's producer was saying in the ear?
Yeah.
Terry, get the apology ready for next show.
I think what Strahan wanted to say was, that's some racist,
stuff.
That's some racist stuff right there.
Stuff. Some racist shoots.
Or you mother effer, what the heck? I don't think if he was on TV, if he wasn't on TV, I don't think he just goes, wow.
Yeah. That would have been interesting to see what he was really thinking.
Yeah. But that being said, week 9 already is in the books. We're halfway.
I'm only like 9 picks behind you now. I was 10 last week. I did pretty well. You did pretty well. So.
Yeah, Joel last week went 11-3 to move his mark above 500.
I am the smartest man in the entire universe without the Infinity Sword or a gauntlet. Yes, booyah, spills, booyah. So there. Okay.
Yes, he is now 39-36 on the season. We've had a couple weeks we haven't picked.
What you gonna do when my picks run wild over here?
Since
we know Hulk Hogan's in the news lately.
Oh, what else? I went 10-4. Of course, picking Baltimore to lose to Cleveland is why I'm behind, because I was stupid. But like I said last week, I sometimes just want to be wrong just in the effort to be right. But I am now 48-27. Now, I'm pretty happy with my record. 48-27. Now, given that last week you were 28-33, the fact that you're now 3 above 500 is very good. And we still have another.
By the power of grace, good. I have the powers.
We still have another 8 weeks, and it's only 9 games, so as long as you make up more than 1 game a week, you'll be okay. But this week, we are going to go through our picks. There are a few differences, so Joel has some opportunities to make up some room. But we're going to start with 2 teams we've talked about in a little bit of detail, the Indianapolis Colts, who are now 5-3, probably the biggest surprise in the AFC at this point.
Andrew Luck or RG3 if you were a GM?
I think I'm going to be one of the minority that says Andrew Luck because he's not going to have the injury problems going forward.
Yeah, I would have to say that because
I do know there's a lot of GMs that say that RG3 with his legs gives you that dynamic effect that.
But we've seen how much trouble that can get you into concussion-wise. The failed trick play that Washington tried to run and he got his bell rung home.
I mean, we've seen Vic how many times get hurt. So I think you take Luck just because he's a safer pick. And Indianapolis and the awful Jacksonville Jaguars with 11 total touchdowns this year. I got to go with the Colts just because Jacksonville is bad.
Sweep it.
And then we got the New York Giants.
Can you sweep with two people?
I guess so. I mean, baseball teams can sweep a 2-game set.
True.
Even though it's like, yay, 2 in a row. Yeah.
I've never understood this. Like, yeah, okay, it's a sweep, but it's 2 games. It's a sweep, but you really have to be more than 2 games to be a sweep. But, oh, there we go.
But the next game is the Giants at the Bengals. I'm going to take the Giants. Cincinnati's falling apart.
Have to definitely agree, even though Eli, 3 fantasy points this week. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Tennessee at Miami is the next one. Miami, 4-4, a little more surprising than a lot of people thought. Tennessee, hit or miss. They're one of those teams that either gets blown out or blows somebody out. So I don't think this one will be close. I'm taking Miami, though.
Definitely have to agree with you on that one on the fish squishy Titans.
That'll be interesting in the AFC to see how long Miami can hang around. Only 1 game out of first place in the division. Detroit at Minnesota, the Lions on the up kick. The Vikings on the down kick. I think those trends continue.
You're not talking about the Ndamukong Suh, are you?
No, not making any jokes there, even though it would make sense. But I'm going to take the Lions to get up above 500.
Yeah, I think the Vikings really just had won the Thursday Night Football game against the Bucs when the Bucs absolutely went into Minnesota, trashed them. That might have been the turning point of their entire season.
Yeah, and it could have been the turning point for both teams because Minnesota hasn't looked good since. Tampa Bay, offensively, has looked good since. So we'll see now if they can just stop getting arrested and
having marijuana possessed.
Or not arrested. He didn't actually get arrested.
Citation.
He got cited.
Cited.
And he's charged with misdemeanor for driving the wrong way down Hillsborough Avenue.
Do you ever have a misdemeanor? Do you have a misdemeanor?
No. But this being said, for people who don't live in the Tampa area, he was driving the wrong way down Hillsborough Avenue. Hillsborough Avenue is a fairly major road. He was found with marijuana on him. Black was, I can't remember his first name offhand. His last name was Black.
Ahmed?
Wasn't that.
No.
It'll come to me later. But he was found with marijuana. He wasn't, he had marijuana on his breath. He admitted to having marijuana in his system. And he was not arrested. He was cited for driving the wrong way and having a misdemeanor charge for the marijuana possession. But that being said, he didn't get arrested, so that was kind of impressive. But the next game,
I was right. It was Bucks Ahmed Black disciplined internally for marijuana. I was right. Thank you.
All right.
Ahmed Black. Booyah.
All right. Yes, the guy who.
I'm making up for Doug Williams, Doug Martin. All the Dougies.
Dougie! Now, the next one is Buffalo at New England. I'm going to take New England because Buffalo is awful.
This is a no-brainer. Duh.
And then you got the last undefeated team, Atlanta, going into New Orleans, who's been a little resurgent. I'm going to take the Saints.
Now, as you're thinking at some time, the perfection streak has to wear out. And I'm going to say Atlanta Falcons. Granted, this is not the playoffs, so they can't be stomped quite yet. And I'm going to say there will still be, even though Michael Turner, I don't know, looking a little shaky this week, but I still got to go pick with Atlanta, pick with Matty Ryan, your namesake, at least as far as a last name goes. So got to go with the Falcons. Bird's going to continue to fly.
All right, then.
That was a long way to go to say Atlanta, right?
Long way to go. I'm going to say the next one is San Diego at Tampa Bay. I'm going to take the Bucks in this one. Chargers are very, very inconsistent.
Yeah, their Stickum got took away, so definitely have to say the Buccos, even though it's going to be a tight game, because just because Phillip Rivers is Phillip Rivers, he can act like a total idiot sometimes, but he's good.
Speaking of total idiots, we got Denver going into Carolina with Cam Newton. I'm going to take the Broncos to stomp Carolina. I don't think this one will be close.
And I ended up seeing a tweet, I believe it was from Darren Rovell on Twitter, who said that pretty cool that Peyton ended up getting like 21 Papa John's franchises in Denver, and marijuana is now being legalized there.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold business move.
Well, if he knew it was coming, that's very, very brilliant. So you're taking the Broncos as well in that one.
Definitely, we're talking Captain Comeback here. I mean, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's like, okay, let's see. It's the start of the fourth quarter. How many touchdowns are we down? We're down 50 touchdowns. No problem. Give me the ball. I got this.
Give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, we got this.
Oakland at Baltimore. Oakland hangs around, but I think Baltimore shuts the door. This was a tough one to pick, though. I had to consider Oakland just because Baltimore's got some.
Flacco no longer a number 1 tier fantasy quarterback, unfortunately, anymore. But I'm still going to pick the Ravens just because I don't see Oakland getting by Baltimore, even with a depleted defense.
Yeah. Then we got the New York Jets going into Seattle. I think the Seahawks should win. It's the home game for Seattle. I'm going to give it to Seattle.
Seattle, and yeah, gotta agree with you with the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, definitely a pleasant surprise in fantasy as well as reality. Seattle, Marshawn Lynch can break off those runs at any time, depending upon how many Skittles he has before the game. So we got to go with the Seahawks in the 12th game.
And then possibly the most disappointing matchup of the week: Dallas at Philadelphia. Both teams 3-5. Both teams looking at coaching changes.
The Chocobo.
I think the loser of this game for the coach is definitely gone. The winner has a chance to save their season.
Is Andy Reid finally? Is the
so.
seat melting lava? Is his hot seat finally melting lava? After all the times that we talked about, man, there's no way he can come back for another season. He comes back for another season.
We do know that the GM has already said, the owner has already said 8-8 is not acceptable. They're 3-5.
One coordinator already gone.
One coordinator already gone. I do think if they lose this game, there's no way they finish above 500 and he's gone. So this is a make-or-break week for Philadelphia, but I think Dallas is going to go in and win this game, even though Dallas is probably the most disappointing team.
Even though they have Tony Romo, they can still get it done.
It is Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We got to be fair.
We do remember Philadelphia's short week, Monday Night Football, and they don't have
anybody.
I mean, somebody ended up starting LaShawn McCoy in fantasy, and still won just because.
They don't give it to him. But we both agree on that one being the Cowboys.
They think they're the Carolina Panthers who don't want to give it to the running backs. Yeah.
Well, Dallas, I think, when DeMeco Murray comes back, will be a much better team.
Has he been a disappointing fantasy running back this year?
No, because he's been injured. He has been tough to keep, but he has not been disappointing when he's played. And I think when they get him back, this team will be better and make a run. I think it's too late.
Pun intended?
Yes, pun intended. Next game is going to be St. Louis.
Puns are always intended on the shuffle.
St. Louis at San Francisco. Got to kind of wrap this up a little quick. I'm going to go with the Niners just because they're too good to lose to St. Louis.
I'll have to agree with you on that. It's the Rams.
And this might be the best matchup we've had all year. 7-1 Houston, 7-1 Chicago. I got to go with the Bears just because that defense is very good. I think it's going to be a little more high-scoring than people think. I think Houston and Chicago combined for somewhere around 40 points. That being said, I think Chicago is going to end up on the right side. It's somewhere around, I don't know, 27-17 maybe.
Are you ready for the Shuffle Says All Crazy Reduction?
All right.
Houston loses and they only score one field goal. Chicago holds them to 3 points. You heard that? Book and lock it. Don't forget to rack it.
And the last game is Kansas City at Pittsburgh. I'm going to, I guess, do my little quick Shuffle Says lock. Pittsburgh 24, Kansas City goose egg.
Ooh.
They had a hard time moving the ball against San Diego, and San Diego is nowhere near the defense that Pittsburgh is. It's Pittsburgh. Shut them out.
Pittsburgh shut out the Giants.
Pittsburgh beat the Giants.
Not shut out the Giants.
But they beat the
I'm having
Giants.
the Doug Martin, Doug Williams type brain fart here, but they shut them down. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. And they shut them down when they needed to. Pittsburgh just got to Eli, they got to the ball, and just bam.
Right. And so we're both going to agree on the Steelers. Only one disagreement this week, and that'll be in the Falcons-Saints game. So we'll see if I gain a game back or if we lose one. But we are running out of time, so I'm real quick going to take
We've actually talked for 44 minutes. It hasn't felt like that.
Yeah, it's been pretty quick. Hopefully it was quick for you guys out there.
Literally.
This is literally Flying Ryan Gilchrist, and that is
Camp on Bleeping Motormouth. Joel Verone here.
literally in the zone behind the microphone. And remember, follow us on Twitter. We have Joel at Sports Shuffle, Ryan, myself at Shuffle Ryan 13. We will see you guys next time